Welcome to Profiles in Eccentricity, a show about weirdos. With your hosts, John Fahey, Aaron Peter, and Matt Brousseau.
Hello, folks. Welcome to Profiles in Eccentricity. It's a show about weirdos, doggone it. My name is John Boy. It is John Boy time. I'm your host, John Fahey. Joining me as ever, prettiest boy under the sun, thinker, stinker, pee-pee drinker, hypervert, high-functioning pervert, Aaron Joseph Pita.
Michelangelo's David Duchovny.
You said it.
That's me.
How you doing, buddy?
Good.
Yeah? You look great.
I took a shower.
You look
That's
real
good.
nice.
Didn't put any product in my hair.
Oh,
I just washed.
What?
I just washed my body.
Well, you can
Soap, water, etc.
just
Whole nine. No, whole body, buddy.
whole body.
Whole body.
Oh man, you got to leave some skank on.
Whole body wash.
Whole body. Undercarriage spray.
And to your right, my left, of course, handsome Matt Brousseau, the Frenchman henchman.
Hi.
How are you, buddy?
Hi. Good.
Bonsoir.
Very nice.
I'm drinking these fizz friends in place of piss.
Bubbly dead.
Spicy, faithful fizz friend. Spicy, sweet seltzer sodas.
That's nice, man.
It's pretty fucking... I mean, it's not piss, but it's close.
Yeah, that's,
It's the piss of a new generation, I think. It might be.
future piss.
Yeah. Yeah.
Beep, this is what
Listen,
robots
I
drink
know,
for piss.
I know you're not. I know you're not proud of me. And
You could have poured it in a
No,
glass and
no,
lied to everybody. So I value your honesty.
Yeah.
Show everybody the can.
Show you here. This is Mick Ultra
Oh, God.
organic seltzer.
MK Ultra?
Organic.
Yeah, it's MK Ultra.
It's MK Ultra?
Yeah, it wipes your mind every
It's a mind eraser.
12 ounces you drink.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, man.
Will you become my Manchurian candidate sex slave assassin?
Yeah, and actually, apparently my cum will taste like spicy pineapple, which you'll love.
It's better than the shit it tastes like now.
Oh God! No, that's not nice.
It's in my app.
So, Matt, you have a slice of life for us?
I do, John. I do.
Yeah?
Indeed.
Well, fucking lay it on me, man. Slice.
So, are you guys familiar with the idea of Micronation? I know you're probably familiar with Micro Machines.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Yeah,
we talk faster than Micro Machines. Micro Machines, yeah.
Let's talk about Micronation.
Bigfoot runs over the fucking yeah. Micronation, that's when you have a micro penis and you masturbate.
Close. Not that close, actually, now that I think about it. Micronation, so basically a micronation it's a locality that it's a political state where the inhabitants declare themselves a sovereign nation, and it's almost always unrecognized by a quote, actual sovereign nation.
So, for instance, Basque Country. Would that be considered a micronation?
No, I don't think they declare themselves sovereign. They just don't identify as Spaniards.
Right.
Or a Frenchman.
And they're not
Or henchmen.
And they're not micro.
Yeah. They are,
They have a soccer team.
The Basque? What are you looking at him for?
I don't football?
I assumed.
No, well, but part of Basque Country of Spain is it's a big swath of land. I think you're thinking something smaller than even Vatican City.
Perhaps a Polynesian island.
Well, sure. The micronation.
It's thinking. The first thing that comes to mind is Vatican
Sure,
City,
yeah, but
which is recognized.
Is recognized.
I don't think they have a fucking UN seat.
Well, I think a big part of getting recognized as a micronation is tons of money.
I mean, yes, but
I don't think there are any recognized micronations. That's the thing, right?
Well, Vatican City would certainly.
What about Micronesia?
We'll get to it. There are some that are just kind of, for the most part, they're just kind of like, all right, do your thing, right? That's just because who cares?
Right.
What's the what harm is there in?
You're so small, nobody gives a fuck.
Right.
Micronation.
Also, at some point, for almost all of them, at some point they make stamps.
Hey, well,
they make postage stamps. That's kind of the thing that they all seem to do at some point. Make postage stamps.
Right.
I don't know. I didn't grow up.
I didn't grow up either.
I didn't grow up like really getting into stamps.
What do you think I'm doing with you guys?
Throwing up.
So is it all of the history I have is Western history. There may be examples of these in Eastern history that are just not recorded in Western history. So I'm just going to go off from...
Or their idea of nation states is not
Sure,
jive with the Western...
Yeah. So in Western history, the British island of Lundy is 1925. The Martin Coles Harmon went there and he declared it independent from the UK. Nothing really came of that. I wrote Martin Coles Harmon is a phony. I don't remember exactly why, but I felt very strong about it at the time. The first official micronation.
Phony is what they call members of Lundy.
Yes, exactly.
He's a phony. We're all phonies here.
I think there was he made a coin of his face and he's frowning in it, which I thought was amazing. Just the idea of a really angry coin that you have to hand. The first official micronation is the kingdom of Elior. It's located on, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but it's Danish. Elior Island, which sits in the Roskilde Fjord.
Roskilde is a couple of dots and over some letters.
I believe so. Roskilde Fjord is just off the Danish coast of the city of Roskilde. In 1944, when the Nazis were occupying Denmark, a bunch of Copenhagen teachers purchased the island, presumably from the Nazis, and then once a year for a week, they would gather on the island and celebrate the person that they had chosen as king, and then they would hang out and they made stamps and coins.
No,
and they still do it.
Really?
Yeah.
It sounds like
a teacher salad.
It's
European teacher salad.
Nice.
Yeah, and also there's another Danish one that's very anarchist.
Well, that's not a micronation. That is
a free city.
It's a collective.
Like Bravos.
That's another thing that I may cover at some point. But it's not a micronation. It's
dude, that
we did both freak out over.
just
we were talking about I never thought you'd have this coin.
I never thought you had it.
It's if you guys don't know what we're talking about. In Game of Thrones, when Arya Stark gets the coin from the Faceless Man.
Coin!
And he's
I told you it's a free city at Bravos.
And he's like, if you ever want to become a Faceless Man, he goes, give this coin to any man from Bravos and say Valar Morghulis. And so she finally does it after 2 more seasons. And the guy she gives it to on a boat is like, get out of here,
boy.
So beginning, she gives it to him, goes, Valar Morghulis, and he goes, he looks at her, takes her incredibly serious.
Slick is no motherfucking joke.
Yes.
Great.
Yes, exactly.
But yeah, Denmark, it seems like they would be perfectly content with having a multitude of micronations.
For me, the stamps are the juice.
Well, the collective, the collective that you're talking about, it wasn't always smooth sailing, but I think they murdered a cop. But that's another story.
They murdered a cop?
I know, I can't remember, but I'll get into it.
Yeah, more of an anarchist leaning thing. Yeah.
But actually, today it's a good place to buy. It's a good place to buy weed
and stamps.
So most of these, the impetus for all of this comes from this book, this very good graphic novel, not a novel, graphic. Picture book. I don't know. It's called This Land Is My Land, A Graphic History of Big Dreams, Micronations, and Other Self-Made States by Andy Warner and Sophie Louise Dam. Also, some research from the Ransom Center at the University of Texas, which is fantastic, and a dissertation by Isabel Simpson, Operation Atlantis, that she did for McGill University.
Operation Atlantis?
We'll get to it.
Oh, God.
So for some reason, the 60s was where all of these things just started happening. So we had there's the Lundy, and then there's the Elior and Roskilde, and
Ruby Ridge.
Yeah, exactly.
Waco.
And then, for some reason, in the 60s, there was a bunch of these just took off. And so first I want to talk about Ernest Hemingway's brother, Lester Hemingway.
Ernest and
Yep.
Go ahead.
The 2 boys of the Hemingway family. Lester, spelled like the city in England. Leicestershire.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, no, international family. They fought wars on.
They
two
had
continents.
alcoholics on every continent, man, except at Antarctica and Atlantis, of course.
Yeah, and their father was depressed and he committed suicide by shooting himself in the head, and it would have no relevance in the rest of their life.
No.
Now, Ernest Hemingway's younger brother Lester was born in Oak Park, Illinois, on April 1st, 1915. It's about 15 years after Ernest. And Lester, you'd be surprised, he was a writer too, which not the worst idea, but not the best idea, because for the rest of his life. He was Ernest Hemingway's brother.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
When he was 11, Ernest's debut novel, The Sun Also Rises, was released.
Good God.
Now, did Ernest ever go to camp and let Lester?
Well, he was he was a medic in World War I.
It's kind of like going to camp. Well, I mean,
He was probably fucking scared as stupid.
Yeah. He didn't go to jail. Nice.
Very good.
Hey, Vern, continue.
So Lester, when Lester was writing for his high school newspaper in 1929, Farewell to Arms came out.
High school newspaper, Farewell to Arms.
Yes. Only 15-year difference. Lester, in World War II, he fought in England and Germany, and he wrote a book about it. It was published in 1953, and I believe it was called The Sound of Trumpets. It was largely panned. In all of the descriptions for it, the reviews, he was described as the part of the first generation influenced by Ernest Hemingway.
No.
I mean, and the guy went to war, and but it wasn't your brother's war. It was World War. Your brother fought the fucking Spanish Civil War, or like whatever he fought in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
you fought in the new Pussy War.
It was noted for its very graphic depictions of war, but also not much of a story. And then a year later, Ernest Hemingway won the Nobel Prize for Literature.
Really?
For what?
And Lester Springer's like, I'm telling you, man, there was shrapnel going on this guy's head. He looked fucked up.
Oh, man. You should have.
Farewell to Arms. This guy had no
He said bye-bye.
There was he couldn't even wave bye to his own arms.
He said sayonara to those arms.
It's fucking so gross.
Auf Wiedersehen.
I wish I was in Spain with Ernest.
Yeah. Trench.
Pathetic.
Give my left foot for a trench.
What a joke.
I think in '54 he published Old Man and the Sea, and then he won the Nobel Prize in Literature, I believe.
And then he killed himself?
Well, at 61, Ernest Hemingway kills himself. Shot in the head in the Midwest, just like their father. And so Lester...
Horrible PTSD, drinking, self-medicating. I mean,
Sure.
Tragic.
Lots of cats.
Yeah, they have those...
Rider cats?
Cats.
They're good.
Ever work with Arthur Cats?
Not Arthur cats. He's my shrink.
Arthur Cats. Arthur. Cats that write.
If you need a good shrink, Arthur cats. He's good.
He's good. You will not kill yourself. You go back to your cats and be happy as a clam.
Act of clams?
Ever work with actor clams? That's dumb.
Oh, man.
So at 61, Ernest Hemingway kills himself, and Lester...
boy, here we go. My big break.
Well, he writes a memoir called My Brother, Ernest Hemingway.
He's one of the first generation influenced by Ernest Hemingway. You can really tell he feels like he's his brother.
My brother was the first generation influenced by our father, hence he killed himself. Copycat. Derivative. Rubbish.
If you're wondering where my accent's from, Lundy, the New Republic.
But it's a bestseller. And it's translated into 13 languages.
Jesus. Lundy's as well?
Lundy.
At the time, Playboy pays him $25,000 just to have the rights to distribute it, which is about $217,000 today.
Hey, come on.
So he's making...
You can almost put a down payment on a house.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's funny you say that there. He's making bank right now, and he decides that he wants to build a research aquarium off the coast of Jamaica. Or maybe first he wants to found a country. No one's really sure which one it is. But in the impetus of, in the machination of both of these, he decides that he goes to Jamaica And he builds a raft out of bamboo, steel, iron, and rock. It's 8 feet by 30
Iron.
feet. Yeah.
Oh yeah, a raft.
And it's 8 feet by 30 feet, and he anchors it.
8 feet wide by 30 feet long?
Yes.
Okay.
Or who knows?
I guess it depends on which way the wind takes you.
Who's to say?
So off the coast of Jamaica, about 3 miles in international waters. Usually, usually around there.
Maritime law.
Yeah, usually around there, the sea ocean is about it's about 100 feet deep. But he finds a bank that is only 50 feet deep, and so he anchors his raft over that bank. And he uses this legal claim, which is Chef's Kiss, United States, called the 1856 Guano Islands Act.
Guano?
So, according to historian Matthew Rafferty,
I made a country at this guano.
so basically, in 1856, adding any new territory into the United States was very precarious because this is before the Civil War. So every time you add a territory, there's going to be a fight about whether or not you can enslave human beings in it because it's the United States.
Sure.
And
Come on, let us.
why won't you? If you do, we want
South of
voting
the
power.
Mason-Dixon.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
If it's on a raft, is it slavery or just a good surf?
I mean, we got a bank.
Has Mark Twain written anything yet?
Yeah.
So the idea of the Guano Act is if there is an island with bird or bat shit on it, that's a prime place to start growing plants, or making things that explode.
Yeah.
So
Guano is a natural resource. It's highly prized for its nitrates, its nitrogen content. It's great fertilizer. It makes you go batshit crazy.
hey, nice.
You said a neighbor.
And that's what causes the abrasion on your palm as well.
There's a couple things that do that. Now, according to historian Matthew Rafferty, quote, they created a new ill-defined legal category. These islands would not become territories of the United States, but instead would simply appertain to the United States. We'd sort of take control on a temporary basis. Basically, if you found a poop rock that was unclaimed, you claimed it, you'd be paid for the deposit, and the claim would be backed by the United States.
Yeah.
So it's like a temporary conditional a lease and a key situation.
It's a wink and a nod and a lease and a key.
If we find oil or more bat shit there, we'll fuck anybody up.
It's like who's over on that fucking shit rock. It's like all right. That's Lester. We know him.
Yeah,
Still the same old.
We don't send him any money, but
but also cahoots.
Yeah,
cahoots indeed.
Cahoots.
Puerto Rico.
And so the Guano Act was one of the things that was used by the white man to get a foothold into Hawaii, and also how the United States has claimed the largest marine reserve in the world by taking the Pacific Islands. So we use the Guano Act to basically take any island we could find because birds shit on land.
And we said that's
I'm sure they also shit
we said that's
in
a
the water,
law,
but it just gets in the water.
We just said that's a law.
Yeah.
If there's bird shit on it, doesn't it look like the Stars and Stripes? I think it does.
Exactly.
This is American land.
Why don't I taste it? Find out.
Tastes like Old Glory, don't it?
So in an interview with the Washington Post, Lester, he tells them, he says, quote, "There's no law that says you can't start your own country." So on July 4th, 1964, Lester Hemingway claims his own raft in the name of the Republic of New Atlantis.
A raft.
In the name of New Atlantis?
Yes.
It's the New Atlantis for a new generation.
Atlantis 2. Above the water.
Yeah, exactly.
You're never going to believe this.
Yeah.
So this actually, a little aside, this whole, you talked about this era that in the 60s is all happening. This is just tangentially related, but it's worth noting because of the implications. There's a great video game series called BioShock, and I think I told you about it,
yes.
John. Have you ever heard about it?
Oh, I've played all of them.
You played all of them? Yeah. Okay, so BioShock 2 is underwater.
Well, the first one is 2.
Okay, and BioShock is founded by this kind of Ayn Randian libertarian figure named Andrew Ryan, and it's called, what's the underwater city called?
Subtle.
It's called?
Honestly, I can't remember.
It's very subtle.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, just total like underwater dystopia, genetic engineering, and like anything goes, no rules.
It's really
what was the name of the underwater
well,
city?
I
Forget it. But
I'm not good on the spot. But it's a really haunting game because they do experiments on people, and it's one of those games where you hear the laughter before you ever see the person.
yeah,
You have to,
giant hulking, behemoths, and then like little girls holding their hand like with like needles and shit. It's this like
Rapture.
Rapture.
That's it.
Rapture is the name, or new Rapture, whatever, is the underground city, and then like the plastic surgeon from Escape from L.A.
Right.
A lot of shit like that.
Yeah.
Right.
And then this BioShock Infinite is the city in the sky, and it's like the founding fathers are deified, and it's just like very like World War I era, heavy nationalistic, jingoistic, racist patriotism.
Yeah.
And again, also like weird, engineering and weaponry and stuff. And it's very just like, anytime anybody starts a utopia somewhere, it ends up being like this really fucked up thing. Great video games, some of the best games I've ever played.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially Infinite. Like, I think it took like 8 years to make or 9 years to make. And
Yeah.
I want to play it. It just made me think of these like, why don't we go do our own thing up here?
Well, no,
it's just like once you're just making it like, a cult with more paperwork.
Yeah,
right, but even then, the allure of the cult is also that like it doesn't have to be fucked up.
Right.
It's just that it very often leans that way.
Right.
Because somebody has power. There's a power vacuum, as you say a lot. But I think the altruistic part of people falling for it is going like, why can't we just do things our own way and not have it be fucked up? Like,
Well, yeah, and that'll come up.
Can we just do a quick break real quick?
Sure.
All right. And because I totally have to piss right in Aaron's face for some reason.
Okay.
And
this is my
that fucking spicy pineapple piss? Great.
Yeah. We'll be right back, folks, and we'll go back to Micronations. Sovereigns. And we're back.
I gotta. Dude, John really did piss in my face.
Yeah, he shook it up.
I read. This is a MK Ultra organic seltzer. Peach.
Pear.
Pear's good for you.
Peach, pear, piss.
Peach, pear, pond.
Peach, pear,
Pool.
pee-pee.
Pool, pond.
All right.
So we're back in 1964, 4th of July, 1964, and Lester Hemingway claims his Raft in the name of the Republic of New Atlantis, and then he types a constitution, and
I typed it out, right?
he typed it out. Yeah, the founding fathers never even typed it out.
Uh-huh.
And he types it out, and it turns out it's just the U.S. Constitution, but he replaced the United States of America with
New Atlantis.
He did all this on a raft. From memory?
Yeah, actually,
We the PP people. Shit.
new page.
We, the
Throws it
people
in
of
the
New Atlantis. There's me and some others coming.
My bird friend.
He gets all these interviews. One because now he's like kind of a famous author.
He's head of state.
Yeah, and because it's a fun story.
It is fun. Is anybody else on the raft, or is it just him?
So he has his family. It's him and his wife, at least 2 daughters, and I think then some like scientist type people to do the marine research that he's
all on
planning.
a raft.
Yeah, and no one ever says how long they're there. If
Sure.
they're always there.
Yeah, it can be docked the whole time.
Right. Well,
And still a fucking...
it's not moving, but he can take a boat to it.
So was this thing about bird shit being on things, was that ever like internationally approved, or was that just some shit?
Oh, not internationally approved at all.
It was just
it's a United States thing.
America made it up.
It is, yes.
And we
like everything we've ever done to take all of this land, it was made up at the time.
And we had power, including if there's shit on it.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't have like
That is
legislative power. We just had physical power to enforce.
Well, isn't that?
bullshit.
I mean, every empire. That's how every empire works.
Yeah.
Is there shit on it?
Yeah.
It's mine.
Yeah. Whose shit is that?
I don't know.
It's mine now.
Bat, bird.
Yeah.
Guano.
At the guano.
It's guano. It's mine.
But I mean, that's there is no
Morality.
There's no League of Nations. Actually, there was at the time, but
Not by now.
UN by now. But like they don't have any power.
Well,
No, in the 60s they totally do.
Yes,
What power?
Yes and no, but there is an international body that will have some power in this situation, and it will come up.
All right, let's hit it.
So he's doing all these interviews. July 9th, he's interviewed by the interview with him is published in the Michigan Daily. It's a short article titled, quote, "The Old Man and the Sea."
Oh God, still in his
These
brother's
newspaper
shadow.
folks, they're fucking really clever. And he shows movies of the place to all these newsmen, and he tells them that he plans to fill the bank underneath him with rocks to make it an island. And
More places for birds to shit.
Yeah, and build the underwater research station. And he says, and he's quoted in the article, and he says, "I want to expand. We're small, and we want to be larger. We want it to be big enough so someone can sleep on it," which sounds like not a lot of people are sleeping on it.
No.
And then they ask him, "What about industry?" And he says, "Industry? Stamping stamps, coining coins, making up books and films, and thinking up funny slogans for visitors."
Nice.
Yeah. So he has all. So
A dolphin someone can jerk off.
Yeah.
exactly.
Underwater research,
Yeah.
And, what comes out of its dick
Right.
could be anything.
Yeah.
Could be that.
came to New Atlantis and all I got was seasick.
I swallowed too much cum.
I came into Atlantis and all I got was this T-shirt.
Clean it up. February 1965, he receives all 7 votes in the Republic.
Hey,
And
I
he's
smell corruption.
He's elected president. And he announces, after this presidency, he announces to all nearby nations that New Atlantis, quote, would be a peaceful power and would not threaten other nations.
So Jamaica.
Yes. And the spokesperson of the Jamaican, spokesperson for the Jamaican embassy is interviewed, and they call him a, quote, decent, well-meaning fellow.
You ain't gay, are you, boy?
A decent, well-meaning soul. And they say that they think through various, they say that in various ways, they say his raft is good, it's fine, it's not a big deal. No one, it's a thing.
How far off the Jamaican coast is he?
About 3 miles.
I wonder if this was covered in Sexual Paradises of Earth.
If you think Jamaica's got some hotties, wait till you see the girl on it. New Atlantis.
No one sleeps here.
There's no guys around for 3 miles.
You just got to fend off these dolphins.
If the smell of bat shit gets you hard, buckle up or unbuckle.
Or unbuckle up.
Deluxe coitus standards of New Atlantis.
No rules in maritime law.
So his wife, she sews the national flag. They create he creates a national currency called Scruple.
Scruples. I love scruples.
It's very good. But the Ransom Center in Texas says that because they the next year a woman who worked there was clever, and she had correspondence with him and collected a bunch of stuff to be like, hey, we want to celebrate your nation. And so now they have kind of an archives. And they say the Scruple, quote, looks suspiciously like things that might have washed ashore on the Caribbean beach in 1964.
Jesus Christ.
So
seashells,
the
buttons,
Scruple, yeah.
bullet casings.
Yeah.
This refined driftwood must be 40 scruples.
Yeah, exactly. It's like something
upwards of
sounds like a Rick and Morty thing.
Yeah.
Here we go.
This is nearly a moxie of scruples.
Yes, exactly.
Oh my God.
So originally he funded this thing. The initial funding was with his memoir money, but his big plan to make money was by printing and issuing stamps to fund his marine research station.
Now, is there like a public trust, a public bank of scruples, and is it called Common Sense?
Very good. Very good.
Aye.
There's not.
I do. And I'm not sorry.
It's actually a tax haven. I got 400 million scruples in fucking New Atlantis.
I left my scruples in Delaware.
Common sense, yeah, right.
So he made all these stamps. He made them in 5 different denominations. He made one for Lyndon Johnson, and he sent it to Lyndon Johnson, and he got a letter back calling him acting president. And so he said, well, clearly this means I am an official nation now.
You're acting.
You're acting president.
right. Very good. But the big problem was he was counting on these stamps, and he didn't. He was not accepted by the Universal Postal Union out of Switzerland, the one that controls all of the postage of all of the international.
That's fucking interesting. That's
something we didn't know
I bet you this is the Illuminati.
This is the Illuminati.
This is the fucking smoky room. Like
Switzerland?
They're Switzerland. They control all the interstate.
And the gold bars?
The commerce.
Yeah.
I mean, let's not bring Judaism into don't be anti-Semitic. Oh, the gold bars.
I'm just trying to badmouth the Swiss.
Yeah.
So what do you mean? That is like what they're famous for in Switzerland. What are you saying?
But the gold bars sounds like a name.
What do you mean?
The gold bars like Goldberg?
Yeah. Come on.
You mean the wrestler?
They're going like,
the TV show.
This is just a piece of driftwood. This is not like a block of Nazi gold.
We can't like tape it to an envelope or something.
We're just making them fucking German.
Yeah.
Is this a Nazi? Is this a Nazi driftwood?
What is this? You can't even goose the fucking thing.
It's not dancing.
The dolphins are goozing.
The international, what is it called? The postage?
Universal Postage Union.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And if it's in Switzerland, and they are the arbiters of postage.
What is a stamp?
What is accepted
What
postage?
is a stamp?
That's a good question.
What is a stamp?
We don't have. That's a Patreon episode.
That's really,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
Bookmark that.
Yeah. They go.
Dog ear.
They come to it with a magnifying glass and they look up and they go,
This is not stamp.
no,
Exactly,
This is fucking bullshit.
They say. I mean,
This is a disgrace.
you know, they're
This is a tramp stamp.
they're not bad stamps. You know. I don't know if his. Oh, he actually no. Did see one of his. It's just a picture of Churchill with like. Writing underneath
A
it.
book and a bottle of whiskey.
Why did they get Churchill involved?
Well, because he's making it. He wants everybody to.
He
to
likes
buy,
Churchill. He likes LBJ.
If people buy his stamps, then he makes money.
Stamps are just tiny pictures, John,
Sure.
that you can
Whoa.
lick.
That's true. Yeah.
You can lick big pictures.
You can, but these are tiny pictures.
There
that
should have
you
been
can
a
lick.
stamp of one of those dolphins coming.
You know,
And the adhesive on the back. I think you guess what it is.
Yeah. Big surprise.
Cetacean come. Sea mammal seaman. All right, and the next.
So in 1966, the entire country is ravaged by a tropical storm.
The entire country?
Yeah.
Ravaged.
All 8 by 30 foot.
Yeah.
All 6 limbs? All 3 people?
I don't think there's anyone on it because I'm guessing they were like, hey, it looks like a storm's over there. And then they just got off.
They were
Yeah.
evacuated.
Yeah.
He evacuated.
Yeah. So the entire country destroyed by a hurricane.
Good God.
And he leaves. He goes back to America.
Just like Atlantis.
Dude, just like Atlantis.
It's just like Atlantis.
Just like Atlantis.
And Paul.
He leaves. He goes back to America. The Jamaican fishermen pick up the remnants of his country. 16 years later, after various surgeries to address his type 2 diabetes. There is nothing else I've done on him.
So,
Which he got on a steady
what you're
diet of
saying?
fish.
So what you're saying is amputation of feet.
The doctors said they were going to have to cut his legs off, and he shot himself in the head.
Really?
Oh, dude! So I was right about the limbs. I should have taken 2 limbs off my quota.
Well, I mean, if they could have given him flippers.
Yeah.
Oh God!
You ever think about that?
Well, no, it still wouldn't have worked.
So I guess he shot himself.
Atlantis will rise again.
So he had at least one hand.
Yeah, he still had his arms, it seemed
So,
like. But there was a variety of
I thought there was
surgeries
a farewell to arms.
John,
Well, it was a farewell to feet.
for his brother, maybe. But,
Inspired by.
yeah.
Arms.
Yeah, farewell to arms. I'll top you, buddy. How about I cut my own feet off and shoot my head?
I'm a fucking merman president. Acting.
Follow that.
Yeah, and so
They cut off his legs and shot himself.
No, they
in the
didn't.
head.
They said they were going to.
Oh,
and
so
then he
he-
shot himself in the head. But
Huh.
again, his brother had beaten him to that too.
Well, then who took over the land of New Atlantis?
Well, no one, John. It was gone.
I see.
The raft was destroyed. The Jamaican fishermen plucked it. They
History
took the
repeats
bones
itself.
of it.
Much like Atlantis itself.
Yeah, exactly. Much like
This
how.
is poetic.
Yeah.
Really,
A tale as old as time. A song
And,
as old as rhyme.
Every obituary noted that his brother had also
Shot himself.
shot himself.
And did it better, probably.
In fact, here's the actual headline from September 15th, 1982.
That's
New
a no
York
headline.
New York Times. This is the actual entire headline from the New York Times obit.
You haven't heard it yet.
Lester Hemingway, writer and earnest brother, is suicide.
No. No.
Is suicide.
You know what? This is the editor going, save the ink.
We don't have time for
Save
words.
the ink.
This is an obit.
He is suicide.
And he is incest.
Yeah.
And
That's
sick.
good. That's nice. He's also the deposed leader of a
Well,
somewhat recognized nation.
was he deposed? I mean, he might have still been in charge. But it just didn't exist.
He's so suicide, he is suicide.
He was indisposed.
No one's suicide's better than me. I am suicide.
I am the Marquise.
And my sinners are suicide.
So now we go back to the 60s again. And a German-American man named Werner K. Stiefel.
Werner K. Stiefelt is a German-American man.
Yes.
Okay.
And I
He's an American man.
seem to miss whether he was...
German.
no one ever
American?
mentioned whether he was born
Is
in
he-
America. I
was-
think he was born
Was
in
he an
America.
obscenity?
Well, so he was the heir to a German soap and candle making company. And then when he...
Soap and Candle sounds like a city. I'm from Soap and Candle.
And the story is the Nazis took the company from his parents or his grandparents. They made their way to America, where when he grew up, he started selling skincare products and made the largest dermatological company in the United States, basically.
At the time.
At the time, and then I think
what year?
I think it's something like around 2009. It was sold for like $2.9 billion.
Well,
Really?
I mean, we got to know what it is. Nivea?
No, I think it was just called. I
Cetaphil.
think it was just called Stifle.
Oh, shit. I've heard of Stifle.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Wait, you're serious?
Steifl.
Something like that, yeah.
Stifle.
Stifle the fucking thing.
But you know it as a skincare product or
No,
it's like
no, that's a pro-
dermatological.
But yeah. I mean, like, BASF doesn't make a lot of the products, so, we make a lot of products, better
right,
type of thing.
right.
Right. I mean, for him, it's fucking foreskin care.
For skincare, buy skincare. It's like FUBU for your dick.
So as he's grown up and as he has this company, he starts reading Ayn Rand, and
Yikes.
his grandparents' company was seized by the government.
Nazis.
And he studies all of these governments all over the world, and he determines that
The Nazis were the best ones.
all governments fall into a period of tyranny,
Mm-hmm. He's right about that.
and he believes the United States in the 60s
Primed.
is headed down that same
Primed,
path.
baby.
Well, he's not wrong.
And so he decided he wanted a place that was, quote to him, ideally a free utopia.
Ideally, a free utopia.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Where a
tragic.
company could not be nationalized. I'm going to equate that with utopia. You know who feels that way? Just me.
Right, but there
and a lot of other people like me who are just like.
Well,
Yeah.
the interesting thing is
Plus my employees.
the company doesn't feature that much into his ideas. He uses the money from the company to further his ideas, but he never uses necessarily the company.
Yeah, they all have bad skin.
Yes. He never uses the places he goes, he doesn't put the company there, even though that might have made it survive.
Ah, interesting.
Or at least look good. Right? Am I right?
Yes.
Which is half of what a country needs to do.
You said it.
His idea for this thing is it would be offshore. So that way, the United States or, a country couldn't get to it.
Meddling. No meddling.
Right. and it wouldn't be an island at first.
Whoa.
Instead, it would be a giant boat that they would live on, and while they were on it, they would build the island that they would live on. And influenced by...
Made up of trash and human refuse.
Yes. Influenced by...
And then we'd hire a bird to come and shit on it to make it official.
Yes, that's how you do it. That's how my baby was named. Claimed, I mean. And in Ayn Rand's, was it
Atlas Shrugged?
Atlas Shrugged. He's influenced, and so
The Fountainhead.
He's influenced by there's a Atlantean talk in there, and so he names his future utopia Operation Atlantis.
So New Atlantis, Operation Atlantis.
Yes.
Since when? I mean, why? I mean, naming yourself after the most famous failed society ever doesn't seem like a good omen.
I think there's some kind of like envy there, thinking like,
Oh, it's MAGA. It's making
was-
Atlantis great again.
Well, I mean, kind of.
But if you read the story, I mean, Plato's story of Atlantis is a morality play, or morality tale of an empire that gets too big and corrupt and is punished by the fates by natural disaster.
it's very much like Sodom,
Yes, it's the same thing.
but what happened to Gomorrah? But that's an old joke of mine. We don't have to get into that. It's fun. Ass to mouth.
ATM.
Gomorrah is an Avengers Endgame, actually.
Yeah, where do you think it comes from?
And now they're on a search for her. Sodomy is both anal and oral, by the way.
That's right.
It's anything but penetrative vaginal sex,
That's
male
exactly
on female,
right.
if you believe in gender or sex.
Yes.
So one of Isabella Simpson's correspondents in her dissertation about this, it points out that Atlantis was probably just a marketing term. It's just for a guy like him. It's a thing that people recognize.
Got
It
spice
sounds
to
cool,
it, baby.
man.
Yeah.
Spice.
And also he probably chose a boat because cruise ships were a thing, and cruise ships are basically a
City.
city.
Well, it also kind of runs
A cesspool as
to-
well.
It runs itself. I mean, that's the.
But it also runs to the thing of we do shit.
It's
in
a swingers cruise.
international waters,
Right.
And it's I think maybe like the first offshore tax haven was just like, what if we just never stop moving, bro?
No morality.
yeah, pretty.
Yeah,
or like a casino out there or something.
Kinda.
Yeah, once those riverboat, those steamboat that cross Missouri to wherever. Once you cross the line, you can
Right.
gamble type of things.
I mean, I think there's kind
You
of
get out to international waters, you can fuck 15-year-olds.
in the early industrial era, I think ever since people amassed insane amounts of money, they were like, well, I don't want these animals to get it, so
Right.
How can I take it out of the taxation system and
Yeah,
get-
I mean, one of the reasons that the United States was encouraged to expand by the founders was to kind of dissolve the influence of
those people?
the poor people in smaller areas. One of the reasons we have 2 Dakotas was so that way the people who were in charge could have the power of 2 places instead of 1.
Right.
There's no reason to have 2 Dakotas. There's not enough people.
There's
But
not
by-
even enough people for one.
But by having 2 of them,
Well, they
now
got an
you
extra
have
2 senators.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
So a lot of the expansion in the United States was to make sure the unworthy don't.
They
amass
create
power.
unwashed.
But also the huge business interests can't really manipulate them against government power.
Well, I think a lot of it is
Well, but we're talking are you talking about offshore stuff?
I would be talking about like in the case of the Dakotas, people like the gold miners and stuff like that, just being like, okay, these people really kind of technically run what's going on here because they provide all of the industry, but also we're gonna break up the land so you have more representation,
Right.
And you actually it's not just a total robber baron,
Right.
right. But then the people making those breakup decisions
Our Robert Barons.
are the robber barons.
Yeah.
So anyway, Werner Stifel. So
Vanna.
one of the things that he was also influenced by was this libertarian movement called the Perform movement. This man named Tom Marshall, he, quote, he advocated living underground in existing countries. So his idea of libertarianism was live in a van somewhere.
Go
live
underground.
live in the woods.
Down by the river.
Yes.
On a steady diet of government cheese.
But he also, unlike most of these guys, he really practiced what he preached. And so one day he just went into the Oregon woods and lived there forever, and no one ever heard from him.
Did he have a big old dick and start a cult?
Yeah. I do everything out here. Fuck bears.
Bareback.
Don't pay taxes. Bareback.
Bareback.
Talk to my diary. That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah. So,
Talk to
one of the things that Simpson,
Another thrilling day.
one of the things that Simpson talks about, which I find very interesting, is how the way these groups view technology and their own attachment to different ideologies and these movements. And she goes back to, she said in the 60s and 70s in the United States, the Back to the Land movement grew in popularity, what Fred Turner had described as the new communalists. Turner differentiates them from the new left, who maintained traditional political activism and wrote statements, formed parties, chose leaders, and marched. So, right, that's the political left, the guys fighting in Chicago in '68.
Sure.
That's the closest they came to this type of thing. Mm-hmm. But really, they're writing statements, they're forming parties.
Right. SDS, PLP, Weatherman 1, Weatherman 2, Lions, Tigers, Yippies, Hippies. Talking about Spiro Agnew?
No.
I'd rather swap the whole damn zoo for a single platoon of the kind of young Americans I saw in Vietnam.
Yeah,
SIS.
with dead behind the eyes.
Yeah, exactly.
But the
Stay in school because it's the best.
New communalists, quote, saw the transformation of consciousness as the basis for reformation of the American social structure.
Not wrong.
And so they adopted small scale technology and tools ranging from axes and hose to amplifiers, strobe lights, slide projectors, and LSD. And one thing,
don't gloss over that.
No, because one thing Stifel even talks about is he wants to free. Part of the utopia is freeing the mind,
like Morpheus.
Yeah,
it's true.
Free your mind.
And so part of the for him part of the libertarian idea was freedom of
in
thought.
Not necessarily thought, but
not on my watch.
If the phrase life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness do not include the right to experiment with your own consciousness, then the Declaration of Independence is not worth the hemp that it was written on.
Is that a quote?
Terrence McKenna.
Really? Thought it was you. Very disappointed. Matt?
Hey, man, I'm still here. Terrence is dead.
So
fucking idiot.
One thing that was happening while...
But this is that time. This is of that time where... And this is why this time makes sense for things like this, is people were trying it out, Age of Aquarius bullshit.
Right.
Not only that, but they had grown up, some of them, with the spoon-fed PG cartoon version of
the fucking Leave It to Beaver,
the history of America, and now they've come to the second, and we're not really facing the
enemy is now not so cut and dry, and everything was a lie.
Yes, and so we're also realizing, there's more of a widespread education and stuff like that, and we're seeing the idea that America is like
civil rights movement.
They're all going like, why can't
we? You did,
right?
Yes, why can't it be more revolutionary than ever?
Right.
Well, one thing I was listening to, it was a Defector podcast, and their guest was talking about how the 50s, like for some reason, the 50s has become like the American ideal. Meanwhile, the 50s was just an outlier of all kinds of shit that was happening. And for some, like the 50s is we pretend like it's some like nostalgic utopia of American life, when the 50s was just like maybe one decade where there wasn't war.
No.
Well, that's the Korean War.
But that doesn't even count.
Right.
It doesn't count.
It's WandaVision, baby. It's the first episode of WandaVision.
It's this whole insane thing. And so, like, all of these guys in the 60s are like, why can't we have good things like maybe in the 50s? And all the people who grew up in the 50s are in charge now and being like, fuck you, hippies.
Yeah.
Right. Well, it's kind of, I think there's also, and I don't know about for them, but there is this kind of realization that even that ideal was a
fake
lie.
Well,
and why not try to make it real?
A lot of that comes from cinema, too. Like the movies
Cinema, the senator
movies
from
made
Arizona.
in the 50s and of the 50s, and even the TV, like Leave It to Beaver shit, right? Like you're talking about.
Yeah, Father knows best. You're making breakfast for dinner.
Right, but it also has this thing where it ties into both levels of temptation. The people's level of temptation is, what if we could go away and do whatever we wanted, like in a cult sense? The other end is the rich guy going like, what if I just have like a fucking island where I don't have to worry about ever paying taxes ever again? Like,
Plus child masseuses.
it goes, yeah, it goes both kind of ways. But yeah, I would agree that the idyllic nature of the 1950s is mainly a fraud and actually a slow motion anxiety attack.
Right. I mean, there was economic prosperity combined with resource abundance.
Yeah.
Right.
For some.
Yeah, exactly.
But even then, for instance, in the case of Black Americans,
well, I said for some.
Right. In the case of Black Americans, though, even then, I would say the 50s they would celebrate as a good time if they were coming home with the GI Bill.
Well,
yes.
No, but then even that,
depending on what city.
Oh, right. But I'm saying, like, even then, it was still something that was a little bit more. I mean, of course,
depends on the city, and the Great Migration was happening,
or like redlining. Like it's like
you had a lot of Black Americans moving from
I know
the
what
South.
you mean.
Yes,
it was the idea.
Even then, for some, there was the idea of an opportunity for equality for the traditionally downtrodden and trampled upon.
Yes,
there was a solidarity, or the idea, or the image of a solidarity and upward mobility, even though if you were in Milwaukee or Cleveland, I wasn't going to say.
I would actually say at that time there was a better opportunity for,
But even then, sundown towns. So like,
no, I know, but I'm saying like there was just there was a lot of, privileged.
There was stuff.
Not disadvantaged white people that were coming back from the war and being like, oh yeah, like all these people that like I had always been told to hate. Like Black Americans were like saving my ass and covering my back. And like, I really want them to have all of the opportunities I have as a GI coming home. And that should have been really kind of pushed.
And that's the case for war.
That
war is a force that gives us meaning. Chris Hedges, right?
No, but also that war almost in particular.
World War II in particular was very a cut and dry war.
Yes,
has evolved to be one.
Right. It didn't.
We took our time getting into it.
Yeah.
Well, and it didn't start as a land grab, but every war that starts
ends up as a land grab, of course. But yeah. In the course of modern history, maybe the most black and white war in terms of good and evil, not black and white. But what you brought up was interesting because I know it's a little bit off topic, but is there a greater force for bringing disparate groups together than fighting together?
You're Adrian Veidt.
But it also depends.
I'm not as fast or as rich, but I think I'm as smart. Yeah, definitely better looking.
And did it work for him?
I'm as white.
Did it work for him?
It did. Yes, in the end, it did.
For a while.
Until the new series came out.
Yeah.
But in the book, it worked out.
Did the nuclear bombs of Japan bring all of Japan together?
Yeah.
For how long?
I mean, they seem to be doing pretty good.
I mean, Yukio Mishima tried to overthrow the government. There were all of these.
All
of these riots.
A lot of people trying to overthrow the government.
All of these riots about.
And did it happen? They make all the best shit.
Yeah, it's
They're also like racially homogenous and isolationist. It's an outlier of a country. Great country, beautiful country.
They're also. I mean, they're a racist country.
Yeah.
Well,
is it a country?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a lot of denialism in the massacres in China and stuff like that. Like,
and listen, China's a racist country. The United States is a racist country. Australia is a racist country.
Sure.
We just have more races to be racist against here.
Yeah, and there's also more weaponized racism, I guess, here than.
It's a part of the system.
It certainly seems
right.
Like, yeah.
Yes.
But go to India and Pakistan, see how racist they are against each other.
Now, Stifle,
Myanmar, they're Buddhists and they're fucking racist. They're Buddhists killing each other. Get real.
Myanmar?
Yeah, and Mark.
No wonder he's making that jack off symbol.
Is Myanmar.
Myanmar.
So Stifle,
just like Paul.
He doesn't want to do the perform movement thing where he just disappears in the woods, but he also doesn't want a lot of people showing up and just like arguing about government and just like making it a heavy hang, you know?
A bummer.
So he starts small. He wants to start small. And so he puts together a 3-part plan. He just wants folks who show up and work hard. And that's really it. And he puts together this 3-part plan. And the plan is this. 1, Atlantis 1. They have a motel that they work out of. Atlantis 2, the boat. And Atlantis 3, the man-made island.
Okay, so there are 3.
What's Atlantis 1 on? Like a pier?
Well, Atlantis 1 is based at a motel in Saugerties, New York.
Oh, nice.
That's
That's the beginning of the country is a motel.
Atlantis
Perfect.
Prime.
Well, yeah, but he has a ton of money, and he offers free lodging to anyone who works on
Right.
the
other
Operation
shit.
Atlantic, the boat. You know, and one guy who showed up, he said there's probably like a dozen members, but there were people who would come in and go, and every Sunday they would have a presentation, and you know you could show up and meet people, and
Continental
it was just
breakfast.
it was a place to be. Seemed probably pretty
Underwater
harmless.
continental breakfast. Lost continental breakfast. Lost continent of Atlantis breakfast.
Now, so
Still shitty. Waterlogged. Soggy cereal. What? Let me run with it, okay? Continental. What continent?
So according to Simpson, at Atlantis 1, Atlanteans were intended to concurrently evolve and live under Atlantis law, as long as it didn't conflict with American law.
Is it similar to Swamp Law?
and thereby, like the motel was kind of the test of the boat, because in a way that a boat might have its own little self-sustained community, the
Motel's not unlike a boat.
No,
But
no,
on
no, no.
land.
But in the small, it's in this. Can these people live together?
Compartment to compartment.
Can we
Yes,
work
yeah.
together?
I do agree.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
do agree.
No, it's
Dude,
just like a boat.
It's Socrates. Are you goozing the thing? It's soggy. It's Socrates. You know that's accurate.
You know,
Socrates.
there's fucking rooms
yeah.
separated.
Compartments.
A few people go around cleaning the fucking thing.
Yeah.
Everyone's fucking.
Before we do a fucking boat, we're gonna do a motel, fellas. All right?
Yeah.
And
then if
mermaids.
we do well here, we'll take this fucking thing on the road or on the ocean.
And as he's doing this, he's also writing, and there's a guy working with him who they're writing basically like a magazine of what's going on, what they're doing.
Manifesto.
And it's not a manifesto, because I don't know if they published it, but if they did, it might have been published within the community.
Self-published. Atlantis 4, Publishers Clearinghouse.
Of just, hey, this is, what do you want to? This is what things we're thinking. This is things we're working on, and what Stifel writes as his goal. This is from Simpson. The goal of Operation Atlantis was to encourage a paradigm shift, which Stifel knew was a long-term project.
Paradigm.
Per
diem.
Yeah. No, you're right. They could make a society. It was extremely doubtful that in one generation. This is from Stifel. Extremely doubtful that in one generation, society could make the transition from the world as it exists today to the ideally free utopia. Too many attitudes of mind and too many habit patterns that would be changed overnight. That would have to be changed overnight. Operation Atlantis made use of small-scale technology to create change, not only to challenge the traditional systems of government, but also empower individuals. And so he chose to build his boat out of ferro cement. And so ferro cement is basically cement with
FERRO.
Yes.
Iron based, or
not necessarily
cement with iron.
It's just cement with wire or rebar in it.
Rebar. Right, got it. Ferro cement, got it.
And so the idea of this was that it's easy to do it. Anybody can do it, and he wants to have people who just want to work hard. He doesn't need the geniuses. He just wants people to help him make this thing.
Make this cement boat.
Yeah. And so he wants to empower individuals, and that's why he chose that ship. And then, but also, in order to build the ship, in 1970, the motel's doing great, and so they need a place to build the ship. So they build this geodesic dome with all these glass panels, It's 50 feet in diameter, 23 feet high, and inside of that, they build their ship. And it's kind of like, these things are kind of like...
It's a floating dome?
No, it's on land.
Oh, but the dome encases the ship.
Yeah, so they can work day
at a
night.
later date.
Yeah, they can work day at night,
Right.
But
It's
also,
like a casino. You don't know what time
it's,
it is.
especially for the time, it's, that's
Right.
kind of a cool
Yeah,
thing,
Epcot, man. It's fucking
a
Epcot
happening
Center,
spot.
man.
Sci-fi, man.
Yeah.
Where's it at?
Saugerties, New York.
This is fucking high science, man.
It's Sawyer Kill Motel, I think it was called.
Or go Mercury.
Sawyer Kill, I believe, is I think it was a creek that
creek?
a river. There. Yeah.
Socrates, New York, huh?
Saugerties.
Saugerties is really?
Yeah, it's Saugerties.
How do you spell that?
Saugerties is spelled
You.
SAUGERTIES.
Yeah, got it.
Saugerties.
Saugerties.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you kind of smush it all together.
It's Saugerties.
So Saugerties.
We're gonna make a boat in a dome, bro.
So they build this dome to house Atlantis 2, and it's
Saugerties.
inexpensive. Doesn't take much skill to build it, and
No, it's full of cement.
It's a cement and iron boat that's supposed to float.
yeah. And so High Tide, 1971.
High Tide is 1971 and 2020.
High tide is 2020. Everybody knows that.
And High Times is 420.
So they get it to the New York Harbor, and High Tide, 1971. Actually, I don't know if it was New York Harbor, but High Tide, 1971. They take the boat out and they launch Atlantis 2.
And it goes back to old Atlantis underwater.
Well, the tide goes out, the boat gets stuck in the mud, and then it falls over.
Ain't it just like Atlantis?
And there was a character.
Stop naming it Atlantis.
Yeah.
It's like naming it Titanic.
Yeah.
But it gets people. It gets people. What is a better name? New Atlantis? Like
No.
Get the people
New Moon?
excited.
Lemuria. Anything but Atlantis.
no one's leaving Missouri for Lemuria.
Name it something cool.
Mermaidia.
Not Atlantis. Not Atlantis. Yeah. There we go.
Nutlantis.
Nutlantis.
Atlantis.
Whoa.
Dude, Nutlantis, sign me up.
Yeah.
Sign me down.
Plus
Sorry.
skincare? Yeah. I think I'm going to like Nutlantis.
I'm doing it for the skincare.
It's got the Heather Locklear skincare program.
Oh my God.
Lock it in.
Lock it in.
So,
The Locklear jet's fueled up with cum.
oh God.
A fucking sea cucumber shooting ceviche on our
You're drinking organic sea cucumber.
faces. Sea cucumber is cucumber and lime.
Sea
Oh.
cucumber.
Sea cucumber? Fine cucumber.
High Tide 1971. The boat stuck in the mud, falls over. There's a kerosene lantern that someone left in the wheelhouse. That tips over, starts a fire. Concrete's not that flammable, so it's just kind of a
Neither
mess.
is water. Unless you're in Flint.
They take it back in. They repair it. But while they repair it, they say, you know what? We kind of need a deck house on top of this thing. They put a concrete deck house on it.
Concrete.
But because it's above the ship, it's this superstructure on top of the ship. It gets encased in ice. They set out again. It gets encased in ice. Almost makes the thing tip over. But this time they make it out of the New York Harbor. And then when they get down to South Carolina, propeller breaks off. But they say, fuck it. And they keep going. They make it all the way to the Bahamas.
Nice.
And then they anchor in shallow water there. A hurricane shows up and destroys the hull.
No. Operation Atlantis is destroyed.
Yeah.
The concrete hull with iron?
It's a hell of a hurricane.
Stop naming shit Atlantis.
But there's good news.
It's going to sink.
There's good news. He buys a second boat.
Oh,
Nice.
good.
And this time they sail to the Silver Shoals and between.
What's it called? Flying Dutchman?
they never. The Spruce Moose, I believe, is.
The Spruce Moose. Glass House. Glass House?
This time he just takes the boat and they go to the Silver Shoals, which is between Hawaii and the Bahamas.
Wait,
And-
between Hawaii and the Bahamas
sorry.
is the United States.
Haiti and the Bahamas. Haiti and the Bahamas. Oh, why? I guess there's guano on it?
There's Guam.
It's Guamo.
It's somewhere between Hawaii and the Bahamas. I don't know. Mexico.
Somewhere between the like smack dab in the Suez Canal.
Which way is between? You know what I'm saying?
So there's the Silver Shoals. It's between Haiti and the Bahamas. And so there's these stories of all these the Spanish ships crashed there and shipwrecked there, and there's coins and
Galleons.
So he just shows up there. He puts down some posts and a seawall. And he starts dredging it out. And as he's doing this, the scuba team, they find some silver coins. And as they
From New Atlantis?
Let's make some stamps.
And the Haitian government, they hear stories of pirates out there. They send some gunships out. The gunships don't realize these guys are trying to establish a community. Just thinks they're pirates.
A republic.
And so they just
Light them up.
At gunpoint. They tell them to get the hell out of there.
Fuck out of my face.
So then, the next move is he buys some land from the Haitians, and then as he's getting set up to make his community, the Haitians discover that he is writing the thing called the Atlantis News, and they read it and they say, "Oh fuck this guy," and they kick him out of there. So then he buys some land on the Misteriosa Banks, which is this little area between Cuba and Honduras. And he buys an oil rig, and he buys all of this equipment, and he puts it there.
Sibian.
Yeah, and then a hurricane shows up and destroys it all.
God damn it.
Yeah, you got to build shit out of straw
Yeah,
in those places.
Yeah.
Well, that's what they do. That's, the little paper houses in Japan and shit. It's because, it's going to fall apart anyways.
Right, but it's...
It doesn't matter what you build. It's going to fucking go down.
Right. And a nation is a people. Like Asgard. Right.
And it can be anywhere.
Anywhere.
It's about spirit.
Yeah.
It's about children.
As far as I'm concerned, man, Operation fucking Atlantis still exists.
In your heart.
And I'm the chief. I'm ready to deliver it.
Are you ready to receive it?
Oh no.
In your heart?
Oh, not my heart.
Prostate?
Yeah.
So he gets it.
Anyways,
He gets it all fucked up.
Yeah.
The hurricane dissolves the state in a hurry.
Yeah. So once again, the hurricane. They never even get a chance to make any stamps. And,
no stamps.
Yeah. And
Show the Danes.
he goes through some other things. I think he tries to buy some land in Brazil, and nothing ever happens. In 2005, he's diagnosed with cancer. Dies shortly after.
Shoots himself in the head.
Yeah, sells his. I think after he dies, the company sold for like $2.9 billion.
Stifle? Yeah.
And that's kind of the end of his story. But
Wait. I just don't want to gloss over the very end of that. He was still trying to do this as of 2005.
No. He had given up by then. So
What's the most recent development pre-death in terms of international sovereign law?
That's a good
Well, you
question.
don't have to look it up if you don't know. It's
I
fine. really don't care.
Honestly, I don't know. I just remember he tried. He didn't have anything that. He didn't even get anywhere where he
Nothing
was bringing equipment anymore.
Yeah.
The hurricanes had done their job.
Yeah, it was just a paperwork game for a decade or two.
Yeah. And
Got
then
it.
and then at that point he had so many failed attempts that there was really no following anymore.
You said he got cancer?
He did.
It wasn't skin cancer, was it?
No, I don't know.
He's out there in the Bahamas.
Yeah.
He's an heir to a skincare empire.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
He's the creator of the skincare. empire.
He's the heir.
He's the creator of the skincare. empire.
And also the heir.
and the heir, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, here's the thing: is like when you got a corporate empire, that's really the new empire, anyways. That's a new nation state.
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, that's the thing.
That's really the empire you should be running.
They're like one of the examples of these micronations is one of the guys who helped make the I was going to say Sibian.
Yeah, the nation of Scythia
Yeah.
with their refugees.
Yes,
and
oh, yeah,
whatnot.
I believe it was the Segway. He had
Dean Kamen.
he bought an island, and he basically declared independence because the U.S. wouldn't let him put a wind turbine on it, and so he declared independence. But he had so much money that he was friends with George W. Bush, and George W. Bush was like, "Yeah, it's fine. Don't worry about it."
Right. Yes.
So
Was it Dean Kamen or the other guy that fell off a cliff?
it was this guy didn't fall off a cliff.
It was Dean Kamen.
No, I don't know if it's Dean Kamen.
Dean Kamen was the Segway guy.
Operation Atlantis, when they went to the Bahamas, it was still 71. And when the hurricane tore it apart.
Got it.
So it was
Now it's climate change. And...
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, it's still way back there. If he died in 2005, he had a rich old life of skincare.
Yeah, he was fine.
Yeah, dude, he was moisturizing, exfoliating
It's,
until the day he died.
I've been
Yeah,
to the sun for a
Dean
minute.
Kamen.
It is Dean Kamen. Yeah.
So he
Fucking
basically
asshole.
has his.
The Segway's gonna change the world. They're gonna design cities around my fucking scooter. Shut the fuck up,
But
you loser.
we had.
You know, rent-a-cops ride your shit around zoos. It didn't change the world, you idiot.
I don't
Make
like
an
you
app.
talking about him that way at all.
Oh, Dean Kamen.
I do not like you talking.
Dean came in your mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Ever
is that
heard-
why you're choking on it?
Ever heard of the Cayman Islands? Hi.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Where you got most of your Bitcoin stored?
That's
the Cayman
right.
Islands?
And my game. The game stops here, pal.
Yeah,
right at the Cayman Islands.
The game does stop here.
Yeah.
Jesus.
And Dean Kamen,
My.
founder of the Micronation of Cayman Islands.
I hate you so much. God damn it.
What?
I really like that.
What?
I
Cayman Cider?
I really like the Cayman Islands.
The newspaper.
I'm a Cayman Cider trader.
The newspaper of the Cayman Islands, the Cayman Cider.
You want a Cayman Insider scoop?
Nice. That's very
You got
good.
shit?
That's very good.
I need a scoop.
Of. Take a break. One more break.
We have one more micronation to talk about.
All right.
So we'll
And
take a break, and I'll go.
It's perhaps.
I'll have my little micronation evacuate into your.
I just want to.
we pissing in your mouth now.
I just want to
No,
say
totally.
it's stupid.
Yes!
but it's also
Great.
Poetic.
it involves
Poignant.
it also involves guns.
Poignant.
I love poignant shit.
No bears though.
I don't know if it's poignant, but it involves guns and it's stupid.
It's subtle and
Yeah.
poignant.
All right. All right. We'll be right back, folks. And we're back. Now, Matt, you were telling us about some bogus nations here that we have to worship and respect. And
I did not
Pledge
say that.
allegiance to.
I did not say that, John. You and Aaron, your seltzer's getting to your head.
I pledge allegiance to the flag's masters.
So this one, I'm mostly going off of. This land is.
Oh, your picture book. John, you'll like this.
I'm mostly going off of. This land is my land.
Oh, swastikas.
Because just doing the research on this story, it's kind of cut or dry, but this land is my land seems to have the best summation of it. Also, I should note that in 1968, a architect named Giorgio Rosa. He built a 4,300 square foot tower in the international waters off the coast of Italy.
Mm.
And they say, quote, probably as a tax dodge. It had a bar, a souvenir shop, a restaurant, of course, a post office. And the Italian authorities would not give him permission for his tower, so he declared independence.
Good.
Nice.
He called it Esperanto Respublico della Insulo della Rosa.
Did
The Esperanto Republic of Rose Island.
Esperanto?
Yes.
Did they speak Esperanto?
Yes and no.
So Esperanto
no,
was a language.
When you say they, do you mean him alone?
Well,
yeah, gender neutral country. Esperanto was a created language that was kind of along this kind of weird new age ideal world idea that was kind of a blend of a few different languages to become the language of Earth,
yeah.
and nobody speaks it.
Wow.
Yeah, well, it kind of like it makes me think of like American Sign Language and how there's American Sign Language
And there's Black American Sign Language.
when they're really like
Did you know that?
yeah, and if there was one world sign language,
It'd be this.
like that would make everything so much easier.
It would.
And everybody would learn it then. But instead there's American Sign Language, right?
Well,
and there's a whole
because
history
it's phonetic.
of that.
It's not like
No, but there's a whole history. Yes, but there's a whole history of that is actually pretty fascinating. That
there's
maybe
every
I'll go to-
language sign language.
Well, I mean, I'm sure that deaf
There's
people,
not American Sign Language and everything else. There's
but deaf
German Sign Language.
Well, sure, but
But deaf people, for instance, must be all over that and go like, how do we not have a shared thing? Like that must be a thing.
Yeah, well, I wonder.
Because they're living in a country where everyone speaks their language, an language. Like
Yes, but also people are curious and they
But
would.
there's so many more sounds you can make with your tongue and mouth than symbols you can make with your fingers. It's prohibitively difficult to make as many different symbols and signs to articulate ideas with your fingers than it is to make sounds with your mouth.
I don't agree.
That's because you have sound privilege.
No, but I think, it's, I mean,
You're not articulating ideas with sound language. You're articulating sounds and letters. You're not articulating.
Stop using your hands to talk.
yeah, I mean.
Oh, now you're being
You're kind of proving my point here about like you can't even say words without your hands.
Fucking your Brian Seltzer Orchestra fucking conducting my thoughts. Fucking stray cats running around.
Right. So anyway, back to
Anyways, it's difficult to articulate ideas with your fingers.
So
Right.
the Esperanto Republic of Rhode Island. Also, they did issue their own stamps. For a couple of months, they would have parties. It was a tourist attraction, and the Italian government did not like it. So, because he wasn't paying taxes on anything there, and so in June 25th, 1968, the police, special forces, tax collectors surrounded the place, evicted the guy who created it, and seized control of it, and then they blew it up.
They blew it up?
Yeah.
That must have been awesome.
Yeah, there was a commemorative stamp.
The restaurant too?
For the
Wow.
the entire rig.
There was an Italian commemorative stamp for the end of.
How did the Swiss
The
feel?
president of the Esperanto government made a stamp for it.
But
For
the nation that no longer existed.
The explosion of his nation.
What did that fund? The funeral?
Well, nothing. It was just fun.
It was just like.
It was just
It's
fun.
just a good time.
Nation building and destroying on a whim. For the
No.
sake of the stamp.
Yes. For the
We are the only nation that has been nuked out of existence. And we have this commemorative stamp
To prove it.
to be like, hey, I need money. And this thing's worth a lot.
The
I've
cleanup.
only got about 12.
Yes, pretty much.
The cleanup's a bitch.
Jesus Christ.
So now we go to England, and World War II. The English, they want to keep the Germans have taken over most of mainland Europe. I guess England's not part of Europe anymore, so I have to.
It was at the time. No, it is part of Europe. It's not part of the European Union.
Yes,
It's part of the
that's true.
continent of
Build the
Europe.
wall, I say, and
Build a
build
bird.
Hadrian's Wall.
Oop.
So the English they want to keep the German U-boats out, so they build all of these towers basically in their waters. And so off of Essex, which is on the east coast of England, it's basically like it's almost
The channel.
Yeah, it's almost a nice diagonal line right to
France.
Brussels, all these on the east sides.
He doesn't want to say France.
Well, France is more on the
Southeast.
southwest.
What?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Anyway.
he's right.
Okay.
So
News to me. Radio Free Europe.
it's funny you say that. So one of these forts. So basically, like this fort they built, it's called HM Fort Ruffs. Her Majesty's Fort Ruffs, and she does. And it's just two concrete tubes. They drop into the water, build on top of. There's little stairs up to them, and then when you get to the top, there's a platform on the top.
Oh, that's nice.
A good platform. Nice.
Yeah,
Sun yourself.
Makes a big difference. Oh yeah, it's nice up there. You can land a helicopter and whatnot.
It's a lovely breeze. What a fucking lovely breeze.
About 4,500 tons. It's kind of like an oil platform, but it's not. It's just these two. So
Just
there's-
tanning oil.
Yeah, they're very nice.
Tanning butter.
Rough towers.
No rough stuff.
And so this idea of keeping the U-boats out, use these places to spot and bomb and whatnot. But after the war, they just kind of there's no point.
Not much going on here.
No U-boats.
So it was created in 1943, and it's about 7 miles from Suffolk. and you know, Essex area, and it's just after a while just falls out of repair.
Does it fall into disrepair?
I guess you could say that. And it was decommissioned in the 50s, and in the 60s when pirate radio is becoming a thing. And pirate radio is a whole other thing, and I'll get into that at some point on this show.
Really fun.
Because it's very fun.
Great motion picture, right?
Really liked it. I really liked it a lot.
The fort's abandoned in 56, and in 1966, pirate radio stations start showing up.
You're listening to R30502
Yes.
FM.
And so most of them, you know, they're on actual boats.
Yeah.
Hence pirating. Pirates tend to not have World War II platforms.
Sure.
But there was these
Or
two
even
guys.
a political platform.
Yes, exactly. There are these two guys who were running what was the pirate radio station, Radio Essex. Very clever
Radio
name.
SX.
Very clever name. And it was this guy named Paddy Roy Bates and Ronan O'Rahilly.
Ronan?
Yes. So Paddy Roy Bates ran Radio Essex, and Ronan O'Rahilly ran Radio Caroline. Yes.
How do you spell that?
Now I'm Ronan O'Rahilly now, and I'm out here in the bits of the nether regions.
I'm out, but not the
English
Netherlands.
Channel. Now I never fucking took over another land that wasn't me own.
Here's your favorite toothpaste commercial.
If you're just joining us, it's 4:53 in the AM.
No.
If you're in the international date line here,
If you'll turn your cameras this way and that, you'll see what is obviously Sagal shit. Sagal. Now, there's a Sagal, this shit all over the place. So, obviously, it's fertile Irish land.
guano fever, catch it.
Go on now.
Scurvy,
Go
catch
on
it.
now. Go on now.
Go on now.
Go on now. Go on now. Go on now. Go on now. It's so stupid. Oh, go on now. Oh, go on. Now.
Come on, guys. Go on now.
That's something that like happened in a conversation when I was in Ireland. People be like, now. You're like, what is that? What do you now? What?
What is that?
Now. What are you saying to me? Now. Now.
Hey,
Hey.
you're right. This is stupid. Please continue.
Go on now.
So it's 66.
Go on.
Paddy Roy Bates and Ronan O'Rahilly. Ronan O'Rahilly.
Are you trying to say O'Hurley? Because it seems like that would.
O apostrophe RAHILLY.
Huh. Really? That's
Probably.
O'Rahilly.
It's. I mean, it's
Or could it be
Ronan
O'Reilly? Could it be? Could it be a weird O'Reilly?
It could sound like it probably could sound like O'Reilly.
like
Ronan O'Reilly,
Suarez,
but it is
Saoirse Ronan,
It is a variation I've never heard before, which is interesting.
which probably
I mean,
means
yeah.
it's fake.
yeah, his parents probably.
Ronan though is.
Ronan's, yeah, the accuser.
So
Pharaoh.
they take a boat out to this Fort Ruffs, or Ruffs Tower, or Fort Ruffs, or whatever, and no one's there, so they climb up it and they start playing music out of it, and it's a pirate radio station,
Yeah.
and it's
Sea shanties.
then I couldn't find any music that they might have played. And I looked through a few different documentaries, and if anybody out there has an idea of what music they might have been playing that would have been played on these pirate radio stations,
Call up the teak and play it to them.
What year is it?
this is 66, and
Oh,
all
that's
I
a
could
tight
think
year.
about was John has a story about his dad being like, do you have any idea what kind of music they were playing on the radio?
Yeah.
Before the Beatles.
Yeah.
Wait, before the Beatles means before rock and roll.
And it was just like,
I guess you could call that rock and
it
roll.
was just like,
My
we're
dad-
like toothpaste commercial. I mean,
My dad would say like he would say to me, John. He goes, you have no idea what it was like before the Beatles. And the Beatles is synonymous in Ireland with rock and roll.
Yeah.
And he goes, the songs on the radio would be like, I'm a green toothbrush, you're a blue toothbrush, hanging on the bathroom wall. And like,
why am I turning
Well, it's
this
a song
on?
about interracial relations.
and he's just going like, what? This is a fucking nightmare.
Yes. And so pirate radio is just like, hey, here's music that doesn't suck, and people are like, whoa,
Yeah,
hey, what? We
yeah.
have this? We can do this?
Or here's music that sucks better.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing too, is that like even the pirate radio stations were still censoring. It was just like, oh, you can also hear the Kinks,
Right,
which at that
right.
time was inflammatory because it sounded like, oh, this is a lot of interracial.
A lot of green toothbrush, a lot of blue toothbrush mixing going on, making all sorts of toothpaste. It's sick.
Oh,
right.
It's sick.
Oh.
Yeah.
And you want to hear that kind of music, go out to fucking
But honestly, yeah,
Lundy.
it was like
Foggy Lundy time.
when you do see the pirate radio movie, you go like, oh yeah, everybody was getting their music from these fucking pirate radio stations.
Yeah, and there's
There was like 1 hour of rock and roll allowed on British radio at the time, and everybody wanted to hear it. And they just like at like the height of like 65, 66, and that's why everybody was getting out into the fucking ocean and the channel and doing pirate radio stations because like
They're right. Every nation delves into tyranny.
well
That's a form of tyranny.
It is. It is state.
Am I wrong?
No, it's states.
Am I wrong?
State sponsored.
You're just an asshole.
It's the BBC.
Yeah, the BBC one.
And they're like, this is the BBC. This is the 1 hour we allow for rock and roll. And they're like,
Don't let your children out.
you know,
Tie them down. And then after this, ship calls.
In 60 years, you can watch a girl fuck a horse.
Live audio here on
Progress.
the BBC One.
now how about that? Live from Lundy.
So 66, they take over this play. They start playing music out of it, and it's the people listening. It's just any other pirate radio station.
It's pop music.
Yeah,
Harmless pop music.
no, but for the people listening, this is maybe it feels like maybe they're trying to sell it, but no one listening, I don't think, is like, wow, this is the one. It's just another station.
Right.
But what happens in 67?
Because they're just tuning. They're just tuning.
they're just tuning around.
Whatever you can get.
Dial.
Yeah.
Then everyone's going like, oh, shit. Oh, this is past the dial.
Right.
Nobody
they're on a
realizes-
fort. I
Yeah.
gotta listen to
Nobody
the fort.
knows. They're just they're channel surfing, and
Right.
they don't know that it's.
Specifically,
Right, it's
radio whale blubber.
It's
or
not like
whatever.
you and me watching fucking Scrambled Spice.
Right,
No.
right.
It's not even close.
Though
Nobody's
to
nutting.
be fair, if they're not on a boat, it's a lot easier to have a consistent signal.
Sure.
It's a lot easier to tune into the same
But
place.
you wouldn't
if it's-
know. Is I think what you're getting at. And
Right,
this is
right. You wouldn't necessarily know.
explaining to me, dumb guy.
And then, so at
They
first
don't-
it was Radio Essex, and then Ronan and Paddy Roy had a fight, and Paddy Roy kicked him off, and so
Go on to your own skiff now.
We'll go find your own batshit.
I think Paddy Roy then, if I have this right, then he called his radio called Better British Music, and then
BBM.
and then in '67, Ronan came back with a boat to take the fort back,
True piracy.
and Paddy Roy fought him off by shooting at him and throwing petrol bombs at him.
Petrol bomb.
Jesus Christ, that's amazing.
Did he have
Yes.
a cannon? Like a cannonballs type of
No,
thing?
I don't think. I think he was standing on. He had the higher ground,
Oh,
and he just
Anakin.
threw. He
Yeah.
just
Yeah, that is incredible.
And so then
You haven't heard the last of me yet. See, now I'll be back.
Till I reach
You got
the
to
higher
sleep
ground.
sometime, don't you, you daft cunt? You're up there now, all vulnerable. As if you can stay awake all night. Jesus Christ. I scurry up there now with your fucking petrol bomb.
I've got the higher ground, Paddy Roy. It's over. I hate you.
And so the British Royal Marines, they showed up and they ordered Paddy to surrender. And his
big surprise.
Paddy's son Michael was there with them, and Paddy's son Michael,
Go on, Mick.
who was just basically like a early teenager or
Big years.
even yeah, started shooting at the Marines.
Yes, yes, yes.
with pistols.
Go on now. We're in maritime law now.
No rules out here.
You imperial bastards.
Your fancy medals and suits don't mean a thing out here in the great open blue.
No wonder you side with the fucker up on the platform. No shit.
What are you talking? No, they're not siding with the guy on the platform.
Who's on the platform?
Patty and his son.
Oh, they're on the platform.
Yeah.
And so who's trying to?
Ronan was shot at, and then the Marines were shot at.
So Ronan.
Ronan goes. He shows up to take the platform back from Patty, and Patty shoots at him, and him and his son are throwing petrol bombs. And so Ronan calls the Marines. The Marines show up and say, "What are you doing, son? You can't be doing that." And then I don't know why they're Irish. But,
yeah, no, they're British.
Yeah, but anyway, then Patty and his son. Patty's son shoots warning shots at the Marines.
Not the hottest.
The Marines then get up there, arrest them both. Take him to court. They're charged with weapon offenses, but the court throws out the case because the court says, I don't think we have jurisdiction.
Whoa.
And so Patty goes, we've done it.
We're independent.
We're independent now. They can't stop us.
Oh, God.
And in that case, Ronan was the accuser.
And the defendant.
I don't even know if I think he just called and said, hey, I'm being shot at. And then the Marines show up and they're being shot at. I accuse him of shooting
me. I am Ronan the accuser. You are the Marquise.
Well, since the arrest now, I've taken up to the platform. And I'm, while the trial goes on, I'm holding the fort.
It's not exactly an ivory tower, but
Patty and Mick, until they want the place back.
And I got my horse up here, so it's my high horse that I'm sitting up on. And then, I guess,
So what Patty does is on his wife's birthday, September 2nd, 1967, he christens with just taking a paintbrush and painting it on one of the only building that's on the thing. He paints Sealand, and
the letter C and land,
just the word sea.
Oh, SEA.
The word Sealand, and he names the place. On his wife's birthday.
This is Sealand, and I be goddamned if we're all not seamen.
He names it the Principality of Sealand, and makes his wife the first princess, makes himself the first prince of Sealand.
Hot.
No kings, no queens.
That's hot.
Princes and princesses.
Now we're young enough now not to be queens and kings now.
And I am the prince, and I exert full pussy control.
And I invoke it.
I invoke Prima Nocta and the pussy control, and this is my little red Corvette, and you wear a raspberry beret, and we're gonna party like it's 1999, and we're gonna do the bat dance. And this is our darling Nikki. And she is the Duchess of Sealand.
No, there's no daughter, but Michael was the son.
And you've got a pocket full of horses, Trojans, some of them used.
No, they weren't.
And this is what it sounds like when doves cry.
No, they weren't the first pirate radio station off of the tower, but they were the one that took it over. And then once he had it, he didn't do much radio after that.
Well, and it just becomes the passion.
It becomes just kind of,
a job.
The territory he has.
God,
and even not doing radio anymore. He's just up there doing like a Marin podcast. He's like, it's like
not even
the
Marin time.
The cat's missing.
Yeah.
Doing that type of shit.
He declared it independent. It was the Principality of Sealand.
I'm missing again.
And it's nothing.
Nicotine patches. Barack Obama's coming on.
In 68, some British workmen are in the territorial waters near it to service a buoy, and his son tries to scare them off again with warning shots.
Yeah, Molotov cocktails.
Real clever kid. And
go on, Mick, give it to him now.
And so
they're trying to preserve the infrastructure.
Again, they go to court.
You're the watchers on the wall, buddy.
And there's nothing really happens for about 7-8 years. In 75, then Paddy Roy, he actually puts out a constitution for Sealand with a flag and an anthem, currency, passports.
Stamps?
Stamps.
Hell yeah, dude. It's not official until you get the stamp.
It really is. And the stamps.
You gotta put the stamps down.
The stamps I saw, none of them had a picture of it. They had just pictures of boats.
Well,
Which
it's a
seems
maritime country.
Which seems like not that.
No, yeah, you should have a picture of Mick throwing a Molotov at people that don't deserve it and don't know why you're doing it.
I'm here for the buoys.
Come for the buoy, stay for the basketballs.
He gets it. So if at that time you could apply and you could get a passport, and they were just
Wait.
you could it's not a real passport, but it seems like a passport. You can get basically a fake passport that says that.
Yeah, if you take
And
that passport, it's like Disney bucks, right?
Yes.
Like you can't take Disney bucks to Credit Suisse.
But that will become important in a second. But
Jesus
first, there's a German entrepreneur named Alexander Achenbach, and he contacts Patty Roy, and he says, I have an idea to take this platform and make it into a luxury hotel. And Patty Roy says, great idea, lad. I'm going to make you prime minister for life. So you're in now. You're a citizen, prime minister for life of Sealand. And then
This is like Willy Wonka giving Charlie keys to the factory.
right, so
Your job now, buddy. See ya.
like I think it's just a year later in 78, Prince Patty Roy, he's on the mainland, doing whatever he does in the mainland.
Probably diplomatic mission.
And while he's on the mainland,
Goodwill efforts.
the prime minister, the newly minted prime minister,
Hotelier.
There's a coup.
he gets a bunch of mercenaries on ski-doos and helicopters,
No.
and he takes over the platform.
Oh, yeah.
and holds Michael hostage.
Yeah.
At gunpoint.
Yeah.
But he's the prime minister. What does he need? He has got the lease and the key.
But also,
What does he have to hold him hostage for?
Michael is
For the keys to the stamping press?
But also, Michael's the Minister of Defense. He's sitting on a bed of Molotov cocktails every time. Goes, you guys have no idea what you're doing.
I want her to get captured.
You're locked in here with me.
Yeah, exactly. Mind you, this is not a big area.
It's not a big
It's not even an area.
It's probably the size of the room we're in.
It's bigger than the room we're in, but it's not a big area.
No.
It's a
Not
buoy.
much.
It's a buoy.
And so
You're locked in here.
after 4 days, they let Michael go to the mainland.
Go on now.
We need
mistake.
water.
Big mistake,
Guana.
because Michael and his dad, then they hire helicopters and get guns, and then they take the platform back.
Jesus fucking Christ.
No one dies in all of this.
And also, nobody cares.
Also, nobody
cares.
Yes.
Go on now. Go on now.
Don't worry. Don't
Hear us
worry.
down there. Now
Don't worry, Maggie. They'll figure it out
dive
themselves.
into the waters there now.
But among the group who had the mercenaries who had originally taken the place was the prime minister's lawyer, and they take the lawyer hostage.
The prime minister.
The prime minister's lawyer, they take the lawyer hostage, and he's a German citizen. So the German government negotiates his release with them.
Oh, they negotiated.
The German government comes to Sealand and negotiates the lawyer's release from.
Well, that just adds legitimacy to the Republic.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Like, listen, we don't want to ruffle any feathers over here. We have a bad history with that. So, like, what are your demands? Because, like,
We had no idea. Like, this is seriously not a country we're trying to take over. Kind of have a bad rap with that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And so I'm telling you, like, honestly, Sealand.
What you call yourself? B-land, C-land, P-land,
so
whatever
great.
you want. It's great for you.
Whatever
Like,
kind of coup.
you don't have any resources, right? Great. Or juice? No juice.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, then, yes, just please give him back because
Yes.
he's like really a highly respected member of society here in Munich, and like,
His name was Poots.
Poots.
Boots.
You don't have a beer hall.
And because the British government wouldn't intervene because they said,
What are you doing out there is what they said. They're like, we don't even know what you're saying. The Coast Guard doesn't even go to where you are.
yes.
Will you shut up out there? You're just on a fucking like a dilapidated raft, like built from the fucking Second World War. Like, we don't even know what you're doing. You're trying to start a country. Shut up. Do you know that we're an imperial power?
How do you get power to
Do you
broadcast your radio?
do you
There
understand?
is no radio anymore.
Do you understand that we won't let the Irish be free, let alone you on a raft? You fucking psychos! Shut up! Shut up!
So
What are you bringing to the table?
a German diplomat, he negotiates all the Germans' releases, and of course, Patty is like, we're legitimate now,
Which is funny because it was originally built as a defense for German U-boats.
Yes.
Yeah.
But not German speedboats, jet skis, or helicopters.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't ready for
Yes,
that.
Yes.
Yeah.
The tide has shifted. One could say poetically.
And so then Achenbach, the exiled prime minister now, and his lawyer Putz, they establish.
You mean putz?
I like that. Yes.
Ah,
I mean,
my lawyer's a putz.
they establish the rebel government, or Sealand rebel government, they call it, in
exile.
in Germany.
In exile.
In Germany. And it just seems harmless. Whatever. It's fine. Not a big deal.
Yeah, totally fine. Not a big deal.
1987, UK extends its territorial waters.
87.
1987, the UK extends its territorial waters 12 nautical miles, and so now Sealand is
falls under
recognized
Union
as
Jack.
British.
Really?
Yeah.
And they raise the flag up.
I don't know. They
Raise the
don't. I don't
flag.
Patty and Mick don't raise the flag up now. All right, now.
You gonna make me?
Go on.
Now, by 1997, there were 150,000 Sealand passports in circulation,
150,000?
and
You mean they were sold at a novelty gift shop in Essex?
So there were 150,000 Sealand passports in circulation, and
Not recognized at any airport.
well, here's the thing:
Ugh.
the Sealand had to cancel all of them because there was an international money laundering ring that had been created because Achenbach in Germany had started selling passports. In exile, had started selling passports to people in Russia and Iraq.
Oh my
and they were
God.
using these passports as travel documents in order to launder money.
What?
Were the
sold-
Swiss involved?
They sold 4,000 alone just to people in Hong Kong for about $1,000 each.
And who's taking these passports? Who's looking at these passports going?
People
Looks
at
legit.
airports are going, that's a passport.
Yeah.
Remember, there's not computer verification of things.
Is there a week of training?
But in Iraq, what the fuck do they know what's going on?
Yeah, in Russia and Iraq,
Listen, man,
it's just
before they got rid of Saddam, it was a fucking tight ship. Tight boat. It was a tight boat. Was it a boat? It was a boat. It was a raft. It was a raft that wasn't falling apart or sinking.
No, by 97 we had they did not even have good electricity because of the sanctions. We had
and the routine bombing.
Okay.
But
this was 87.
No, 97.
But you said this was 87.
No, in 87 the British government extended their waters.
Yes.
In 97 they canceled all their passports
right.
because there was an international.
How do you cancel them?
You say
You write a letter?
You make an announcement they're not legal.
They
and
were
then,
never legal in the first
No,
place.
but all of
But
these
same thing as the stamps in fucking Switzerland.
they didn't make an announcement saying these are legal or these are not legal.
Everybody thinks it's a currency until they find out it's not.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes,
so it was just saying, hey, be on the lookout.
Yes.
These were never legal.
Yes.
And, and they
Yes.
are still not.
Yeah.
Yes.
The people with two
Got it.
stems of cement and a platform are not a country.
Right.
Yeah.
Just so you, in case there
Just
was
so
not.
you know. But also,
Aren't they?
a lot of people that, if they're, living in a place that is, separated.
Yeah, so what you're saying is like the 1997 Baghdadi TSA is not necessarily the cream of the crop in terms of counterfeit passport detection.
No, but they weren't counterfeit.
Well, in international law,
They just weren't recognized.
they weren't internationally recognized.
Yes.
And they were none the wiser.
They were real Sealand passports.
Yeah.
It's just Sealand
Yeah.
is just a bullshit place.
I mean, but in a way, aren't we all?
It's like a Disneyland passport.
And that's, I think, what the crux of this whole episode is.
Yes,
in a
it
way,
is.
aren't we all Sealand?
It's the exact same thing when everybody was smuggling cigarettes in Ireland. You would get a pack of Regal, and you'd be like, well, this is pretty much sawdust. And this sucks. And you go like, this is not Regal brand cigarettes. And you go like, well, I got it for cheap though. That's what's going on with passports in Sealand. It's just a shitty thing that you got
Except one.
you got suckered into.
Yeah.
And
well,
it's not recognized, it's not real.
no, I mean, except real Regal cigarettes will give you a nicotine high.
Right, but also being the citizen of a real country will give you,
Right, but then there's a subjective and objectivity to. I mean, objectively, good cigarettes are better than bad cigarettes. The value between a real or fake passport is in the eye of whoever's let you through the gate.
Yes.
Right, but also just being a real country is not necessarily affirmed.
Yeah, but that's subjective.
Until it's not. Until you can't get into the airport.
Right, but even that is just still, that's a consensus thing. You know what I mean? I get your argument, but
I know what you mean.
There's real, like, biological and just, this is shit, this is not.
Yeah.
And then there is, we say this is shit, and we say this is not.
Right.
There's a
yes.
construct, and then there's reality.
Yes, I agree.
You just wanted to make it about cigarettes.
No, I wanted to say that one is fake and one is real. One is recognized, one is not.
But there's a difference between, we're arguing about nothing.
One has standards of you can't put sawdust in it. The other one goes, yeah, this is actually all Virginia tobacco. There is two different things going on. One is fraudulent.
Right, but the standards are not based on the feeling it gives you. It's based on we just recognize it or not. One is a fraud, and one is, we don't like it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But that's
the only thing I'm saying is,
I think you agree. Legitimacy is implied in one or the other, and
listen, the Regal cigarette. This is the dumb argument we shouldn't be having.
it's just
if you had a choice between the two cigarettes, you would take the real ones.
Of course, yes.
And that has nothing to do with the name brand or not.
Right.
It's because one is objectively better, right?
Right.
The argument I'm making with this passports is that they're all fake.
Yes.
They're all fake.
And what I'm saying is you may not know that if you are a closed-off Iraqi citizen.
If you're the Iraqi TSA, you don't even know.
And you're going like, okay.
Whatever.
I don't know anything about the Western world.
I don't know about passports. I don't know what they. I don't know where they're from.
I don't know what they
I don't know what they look like.
So now you get the
comparison. Yes. I think yes.
Matt, take it away because Aaron is not doing well.
No, I think I made a really good point.
Yeah, sure you did.
I mean, there's not much for me to follow that with, other than
passports are a construct. Tobacco is not.
They canceled the passports. They briefly attempted to become a data haven.
A data haven?
For online data. The .com boom kind of blew that up in the early 2000s. They
had like a computer on the platform.
Yeah.
They're like,
No,
we're
but it was
the
like-
internet.
But
Plus the clouds above. Too.
the Pirate Bay for a bit, and
The Pirate Bay was in the Pirate Bay?
was briefly thinking of like, hey, maybe we can have stuff there.
Co-branding.
But no, it kind of fell through, and Patty died, and it's just no one's there anymore. Michael he told the Daily Mail.
I can't wait to hear what he told the Daily Mail.
What happened to the other 40 platforms? Nobody gave a shit about the other 40?
No, there weren't 40 other platforms. Most of them were just single huts. There were some other platforms, but this was just honestly like
Had the best song.
what happened here that a lot of people are like, man, I can't wait to have a platform. There's very little happened at this platform that I think a lot of people would be like, I hope I spent a lot of time at the platform.
Sure.
Because this is what Patty had to say when I get to eventually.
Bury me at sea because there's no ground.
Bury me at sea like my forefathers that knew that
It's like they didn't.
it was better to have a pirate radio station than no radio station at all.
That wasn't their really where they lived.
So saith the White
It was a place
Panther.
they would spend time at, but it wasn't where they lived. They
It's
still
a
lived
nice
on
place
land.
to float by, not a
And
nice.
so so
Well, we
Michael.
lay our head here now. We spend some time.
Yeah,
now.
when I'm dead, throw me into the waves.
Throw me into the waves. Because my forefathers knew it was better to broadcast from a ship than it was to play toothpaste songs on land.
Now, you must understand, before the Beatles, it was a good bit different now. Look at me son Mick there, tossing Molotov cocktails.
Bombs
Look
of
at
petrol! Leaded petrol at that.
Minister of Defense Mick down there. Go on now.
We called him Mick Ultra.
So
He was the best of us.
so this place it's just been on sale, but they're asking for like $900 million, and so no one's ever going to buy.
Who's asking? The government? The British?
Mick.
Yeah,
Is it Mick?
Mick?
Yeah, they just took a place. They're basically like
They're selling the
They're
platform.
basically a cooler version of the Bundys in America.
Al?
Of like the Bundy family who took over land in America.
No, I know.
And was like
in Oregon.
and was like
They didn't
well,
even take it over. They occupied it, right?
They occupied it, and they're like, well, we've been here for decades, and it's like, yeah,
Right.
but you were stealing it then too.
But they just took like a floating pier, and they're
They
like,
just took a floating pier, and now they're selling
and
it
they're
because
saying-
no one.
and they won $1 billion.
Yeah, basically.
How
And
many pounds is that?
Twice. Just it's like one and a half now. I think.
So, would the sale? I mean, could they? They don't have any rights to it though.
Well, it would be interesting to see if someone bought it.
If somebody bought
What
it,
the-
is
what
it
the
like
English
let me sell?
government
I
would
want to
do.
sell, the guy that like tried to sell the Brooklyn Bridge and shit.
Right, and then Boris Johnson shovels
Right.
out there with his hair waving in the wind, going, oh, yeah.
I mean, he's a bit.
Or like, can Liz rent it out for her birthday or something like that?
Right.
Yeah, can she bring her own DVDs?
Well,
Do they have poppers?
You're asking all these questions.
You know.
You know?
Well, he's got customers, so we should probably wrap it up, right?
So, 2007, Patty dies. Princess Joan, his wife, she died in 2016.
Oh God, poor woman. Graceful ruler.
Yes. Everybody noted her for her. She was.
Poise, her grace,
No one could walk across rust like her.
your grace.
And Michael, he told the Daily Mail, he said,
The devil.
I've got grandchildren. Everybody keeps dying around me, including my mum. So I thought I better start getting on living my life.
Get some of that life Tony was telling me about.
So it sounds like Michael was like, I spent way too much time on that platform.
Do you want to tell me about
Get
grace?
busy living or get busy dying now. You understand?
Do you want to tell me a bit about that life? No, I don't think I will.
No, I don't think I will now.
I feel like this platform isn't mine. Well, it is.
Now let me ask you something, Paddy, Father. Jesus Christ, no. If you're the prince, what the fuck am I now?
Who's the Prince
I'm
Regent?
the son.
right?
Jesus Christ. I don't understand. Well, I guess I'll be here making the Molotov cocktails now.
Yeah, see the picture.
Anybody
the
that
petrol
comes
bombs.
near, I don't care now if it's fucking
Booze.
Funny how we're all Irish now. Isn't it?
Yeah, well, if
It's so
I
much
don't-
easier for some
I
Well, we're
don't-
definitely not British, so
I-
well, fuck it.
I don't care if you're saving the whales or any of that.
Or even Wales, the
Yes.
the territory of Wales.
That's an accent I won't do. What's an Essex accent? I don't even know what that.
Essex, I don't know.
Yeah, it just probably sounds like.
Essex is kind of like the
It's the sound-
OC,
it's
like
the-
like the hill, like the OC Beverly
it's the
Hills
sound
type
of
of thing.
seagulls. All the seagulls they have there.
Do you know the geography where Essex is?
Yeah, the southeast.
Matt, I really enjoyed.
I thought you might enjoy some Micronations.
I love Micronations. I like Macronations.
Is there any we did
I like
not-
Machinations.
No, is there any we did not get to that you're trying to get to in a Patreon episode?
Any
for
more
instance?
Atlanteans?
No, I thought about Sealand doing that as a Patreon, but it just kind of it was just a stupid story that I thought would be a really good way to end.
Full, yes.
Yeah.
To
Wrap it up.
Yeah. One
Petrol
of,
bombs.
the book is great. This Land Is My Land. I think it's great, and it's introduced me to not only the idea of micronations, but the idea of
Basically, a cult-turned country.
well, just the classification of
What
of
makes a
societies.
country?
So
And who
international
approves it?
international communities. No, I'm sorry.
You're not a country.
Intentional community.
Intentional communities.
Yes, which is the new word for commune.
Yeah.
right.
It's here's the thing. Do you have tanks?
Or money.
No, yeah, but
Or money.
Or oil, a resource that you can hold over everyone's head.
well, or people. Do you have enough people to make that a reality? Micronations, which actually are no people, and something that Simpson talks about in her dissertation, which is that often there's this very charismatic leader. The micronations are usually one guy being like, this is the thing, and which is always fascinating because what separates it from a cult is that there's
It's
almost
not salvation.
there's no one joins basically, right?
If they were any good,
Right, you're not trying to solicit,
Right. So like the cult is basically a micronation with a lot of followers.
right. I would say it's more of a business than a nation.
right.
In a way.
the Micronation is trying to get away from people.
Yes.
The cult is trying to bring people
Yes. No, I think that's a very good way of putting it.
But there have been cults, like we said in the
that are trying to separate themselves as well. Separatist kind of cults.
yes.
Yeah.
And so there's a little Venn diagram.
Absolutely.
Maybe
There
a
is.
three-way Venn diagram that we could all draw and put on a T-shirt and
But
give away.
another thing they talk about in the book is visionary environments. Since about it's more of an artistic thing where people they show up and they remove themselves from society, and in the place where they have moved to, they then create basically a new world through art.
Burning Man.
Whether it's but whether it's carving into tunnels or using garbage to build around them, and some
Make
of these
the movie theater in the catacombs in Paris.
some of these are accepted as places, and there's this one in India where this guy just did it for so long that it became beautiful and then accepted by the state, and when he died he was honored, and there are people who work there now to build it and make it bigger.
Huh.
And
Oh,
so
that's sweet.
there's a lot of very interesting things like that. There's a story of this man and his wife in Canada who they were renting a house, and he built his wife, or his girlfriend at the time, a studio on some logs had fallen into the river they were living next to, and he built a platform on it, and then he built on the platform, and he built basically an art studio for them to work out of. And then after they got out of the house, they just moved into the studio, and then he just kept building around it. And out of that spot, he built just all of these structures that they could then move around. And they were all tethered to the bank, but he could take, like, let's say he had built a tower, they could move that tower to another part of the structure.
Right.
And they were constantly, and so
Modular Atlantis.
their whole thing was that, every day they would wake up and fix what needed to be fixed. They would make the art they wanted to make. In the living room where they had a TV, there was a little hole in the floor, because if he couldn't fish because the weather was too bad, he could just put a fishing pole right
Sure.
in the floor and fish out of the hole.
If
Yeah.
the toilet was broken, cut another hole.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Now, if the beaver made some repair that wasn't up to code,
We ate the beaver for dinner.
then we ate the beaver. We skinned it. We ate the beaver. And we got that old gator up there.
Here, we invite him. He brought a nice bottle of wine. We drank them alligator tears.
Yes, exactly.
We did get some gator tails.
Yes, exactly.
I ate my wife's beaver. Oh,
And it was a good time.
yeah, no, it was a good time.
That's very nice, man.
And this was a good time.
I had a fine time myself.
Me too.
And your time sounds like a fine.
I think we should fuck off.
We should fuck off. Go start our own country.
Yeah, we should.
It'll be tiki themed.
Yeah, Pervania.
Pervania.
Pervania probably is how it should start.
And end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you something. I'll be throwing some Molotov cocktails to protect that fuck.
I'll be making a few petrol bombs, you know what I'm saying?
I'm going to say goodnight. My name is John Fahey.
My name's Aaron Pita.
Pepper soap.
Good night, everybody. We love you.
Scarpins Avenue.